What comes to mind when you mention Venezuela? Hugo Chavez probably, or oil, or baseball. What probably does not come to mind is classical music. And yet, Venezuela is the home of a music program that's so extraordinary it's been hailed as the future of classical music itself. It's called El Sistema, the system, and it's all about children, about saving them, hundreds of thousands of children, through music. In the world of classical music, the Simón Bolívar National Youth Orchestra is unique. The musicians, kids mainly, are not graduates of some conservatory or music school. They're alumni of the School of Hard Knocks in the slums of Venezuela. The orchestra performs around the world with Gustavo Dudamel, its celebrated young conductor. Performing in the grand and opulent concert halls of Europe is a long way from the orchestra's home in Venezuela. Many of the kids come from neighborhoods which are so poor, desperate, and crime-ridden that hope is often extinguished in children at an early age. Instead, these kids travel the world playing to sell-out audiences. The National Youth Orchestra and hundreds of others are the brainchild of Dr. Jose Antonio Abreu, who started the first one back in 1975. Do you remember the night you first started?
Teníamos 11 muchachos.
We only had 11 children rehearsing in cramped conditions. But I had the feeling this was the beginning of something very big.
Dr. Abreu, a 68-year-old retired economist, trained musician, and social reformer, founded the system and has built it with religious zeal, based on his unorthodox belief that what poor Venezuelan kids needed was classical music.
En el fondo, es un sistema esencialmente social.
At its root, this is a social system that fights poverty. A child's physical poverty is overcome by the spiritual richness that comes from music.
So music actually becomes a vehicle for social change.
Without a doubt, and that's what's happening in Venezuela.
It happens in neighborhoods like this one on the outskirts of Caracas. Every afternoon, small children line up for free music lessons at a local branch of the system. Rafael Elster runs one. How old are they when you first get them?
Kindergarten, like 2 years old.
2 years old?
Yeah, learning music.
2-year-olds start learning the basics, rhythm, and the language of music. By the time they're 4, they're being taught how to play an instrument. By the time they're 6 or 7-year-old veterans, they're playing in orchestras.
A regular kid who will play in 2-3 years, we make it happen in 3-4 months.
How do you do that?
We work hard, and they love it.
Hard work is an understatement. Every day after school throughout Venezuela, you can see kids practicing. 15,000 trained musicians work with them, but the system also uses gifted kids to teach other kids. On top of 8 hours of schoolwork, it makes for a long day. So a kid is here from 7 in the morning till 6 in the
12
evening?
hours, almost.
Every day?
Every day from Monday to Saturday. They only have Sunday.
Only Sunday to get into trouble.
To practice at home. You know, yeah.
Home, for most of the kids in Rafael's program, is called Sarria, one of the poorest and most crime-ridden neighborhoods in Caracas.
These people, they don't have almost anything, so they decide to build a house here, and it's like 5 people per room.
The worst section of Sarria is a labyrinth of illegal shacks and alleyways built into the side of a ravine.
And 80–90% of our kids come from here. So if you can see the kind of construction, it's really bad, it's really poor.
How dangerous is it here?
Oh, pretty dangerous. So you cannot be walking around here by yourself.
Not even you?
Not even me. No one, no one. Even the people from the neighborhood can get robbed here. Hola. So, well, it's part of the poverty.
In the midst of that poverty, the system uses classical music to instill self-esteem and confidence. Popular music, Rafael says, wouldn't work.
What they have at home in the radio is popular music all the time. Their father, who drinks every day, he get drunk with that music. So you have to give them something different. And when they sit in one of these chairs in the orchestra, they think they're in another country, in another planet, and they start changing.
We're listening to it now, aren't we?
Yeah.
Their sound may be a little rough, but what they lack in experience, the kids make up for with enthusiasm.
Gózalo. ¡Ay, Valeria!
Trumpeter Paolo Cistoni says the system teaches kids a lot more than how to play an instrument.
Niños que no tienen
Kids who are poor wouldn't be able to join an orchestra on their own.
la disponibilidad de entrar a una orquesta.
It's really good because not only do they learn a daily routine, but they also learn another culture.
Otra cultura.
When you came here, did you start playing the trumpet right away?
Escogí el violín.
I chose the violin first, but then I decided I liked the trumpet.
Me llamó la atención la trompeta.
What is it about the trumpet that you like?
El sonido.
The sound. I pretty much like everything about it.
There are nearly 300,000 kids like Paula in the system. There are 176 orchestras for children, 216 for young people, and 400 more ensembles, orchestras, and choirs. The sound of children playing classical music is everywhere. If it seems they're playing as if their lives depend on it, Dr. Abreu says they do.
800,000 children have passed through the system in 32 years.
The majority of them will not become musicians.
El paso por la música.
Music produces an irreversible transformation in a child. This doesn't mean he'll end up as a professional musician. He may become a doctor, study law, or teach literature. What music gives him remains indelibly part of who he is, forever.
Eterno.
Take Leonard Acosta, who we first met 8 years ago when he was serving time in a juvenile detention center in Caracas. He was 17, had a violent criminal background, and the scars to prove it. When the detention center started an orchestra, Leonard tried the clarinet. Ed Bradley asked him about it.
Tell me what it was like the first time you picked it up to play it.
It's completely different than when you hold a gun.
Do you think that your life today is different because of the clarinet, because of the orchestra?
Sí, mucho. Yeah, a lot. The music taught me how to treat people without violence.
That's not all he learned. We caught up with him one morning recently on his way to work in Germany. The system sent him here to work as an apprentice, learning how to build and maintain organs. Back in Venezuela, Leonard will be responsible for maintaining the organ in the system's new headquarters. The day we were there, the National Youth Orchestra, made up of the system's best musicians, was rehearsing. Their conductor, Gustavo Dudamel, is the orchestra's first international superstar. And a product of Dr. Abreu's system, which in the beginning most people thought would never work.
For a lot of people, he was a crazy man. Kids, Venezuelan, poor, playing classical music. Oh my God.
Dr. Abreu often says that the system saves children. Saves them from what?
From a lot of things. We have cases with kids with big problems, and they change their life with music.
Consider the life of Jose Gregorio Hernandez. His blindness didn't stop the orchestra from letting him be as much a part of it as any other kid. You can see the result for yourself. Magical. You think that the system is changing Venezuela?
Absolutely. 300,000 kids playing music. in the future, 1 million. I'm sure of this. When Venezuela will be full of orchestras. Now it's full, will be more. I think we are helping a lot. And the orchestra now is a symbol of the country. It's like the flag.
Like the flag. The National Youth Orchestra shows the flag every time it travels abroad. It's so much in demand, it's on the road more than most professional orchestras. We found them in London, where they performed before a packed audience at Royal Albert Hall. Back home, their success is a source of national pride. But all that comes at a price. The system's annual budget is $80 million. Most of it comes from the Venezuelan government. Dr. Abreu has kept the program alive through 8 Venezuelan governments. But he's always on the phone looking for additional funding, even at a concert.
Excuse me. Sir.
Not surprisingly, the system's need for all kinds of instruments is enormous. So since 1995, they've been making some of their own, from scratch. They sound pretty good. Even so,
we are literally begging all over the world. Everyone who has a penny, who can give us to buy a string, a violin, a trumpet, shoes, whatever, we can help this kid.
A trumpet or shoes?
Yeah, but both, if it's possible.
Do you think this system could work in the United States?
Yeah. If you can help a poor kid in here, you can help a poor kid everywhere. It doesn't matter the culture, it doesn't matter the race. I mean, it's music. Everybody loves music.
Especially when it's played like this. The system's motto is tocar y luchar, Spanish for to play and to fight. In Venezuela, it's often the same thing.